I think we need to define keto as a product is way different than keto, what you and I talk about as keto. I think people, you're right, they do. They replace their standard American diet with a standard fake keto diet, pseudo keto diet. And neither one of those is going to give you health. Could you lose weight? Is weight the only barometer by which we're measuring something as healthy? That's another thing that pisses me off to no end, is people only look at what is the weight loss effect of any given diet. And if you're not losing weight, it must be failing. And if you are losing weight, it must be succeeding. Never mind if you're under eating calories, never mind if you're eating junk food, never mind if you're micronutrient deficient. There's so many falsities in the narrative of it's not working because weight loss isn't working. You could have blood sugar stabilize, you could have insulin levels come down, you could have inflammation levels come down, even as the weight stays stuck.
So why do you think that is? Why do you think that we're so obsessed about the weight? Why are we so obsessed about losing the weight fast? Why do we want the quick fix? Whose fault is that?
We've been conditioned. Look at all the heavy advertising. And by the way, I've got a book idea in me to expose the tactics of the weight loss industry. And one little tidbit that I've come across in my research is all of the weight loss companies from Slim Fast to Dexatrim to on down, every single one of them are owned, hold on to your hats, by junk food companies. So they get you, oh, the Slim Fast didn't work, come over and have our junk food. Oh, the junk food's making you fat, come on over to, and it's like this revolving door, and they're making money coming and going. So the sooner people realize the reason you obsess about weight is you're being told that you should be obsessing about your weight. It's disgusting to me that we look solely at weight, and you can have amazing things happening, healing inside the body, even as the weight's being stubborn. There's so many things beyond the food that you eat that impact the weight on your body. And don't get me started on stress in the last year. Like, it's been hard on everybody. So give yourself some grace and don't get frustrated because the weight's not moving, and then give in to some of those junk foods, because you can't bring sexy back. If you do that, you've got to be committed. Even when you don't see results, results are happening on the inside.
Yeah. And that's hard for us because we don't see those results happening on the inside, right? Like, we just see the outside, we see the number on the scale, we see how our clothes fit and all the things. We really don't get to see inside. Like, it's not like every day we step on some scale and it tells us like, oh, your inflammation level went down. Maybe one day, right? With the technology, we'll get there. We're like, hey, your inflammation went down and your liver is functioning so much better and processing these toxins so much better. And you're doing this and that. It's like, we don't see that. So we go by the physical appearance, the number on the scale to determine whether something is working or not. And I feel like in our society, we're also so prone to have this mindset of, quick fixes. So why do you think we want that quick fix? Why do you think we want to lose that 10 pounds in a week? And I see this over and over again with keto. And this is kind of where it's tricky. And it's hard for people because they see all the transformations on social media. Somebody that has a lot of weight to lose might start a ketogenic diet and drop, that 10 pounds in a week, but that necessarily doesn't mean that it's been 10 pounds of fat, right? And then the other people, they see it and they don't get the same results. So they quit, or they say keto doesn't work for me. Why are we so obsessed for these quick results? Is it our fault? Is it our brain's fault? Is it, the meat, like the diet industry? How do we switch from that?
I think it comes down to fear, Lesha. People are scared to death because their doctor tells them, oh, you have high cholesterol, so you need to go on a weight loss diet to bring that cholesterol down, or you're going to have a heart attack. I actually had a lady, no kidding, a lady 2 days ago was freaking out in Instagram DM. She wrote me, my doctor told me I'm going to die in the next few days. And I'm like, what do you mean? Oh, well, my total cholesterol was really high. And I'm like, send me your panel. So she sends me her panel. her triglyceride to HDL ratio was under 1. Her A1C was 4.9. Phenomenal numbers, by the way, for people that don't know. 4.9. Her blood sugar was 83. Her insulin was in single digits. And she had, an inflammation marker under 1.0 on the HSCRP. I'm like, call me. And we sat there and we had a nice 30-minute conversation where I was explaining all this and why the doctor was doing that. So I think a lot of people are feared into being hyper vigilant about wanting to do it fast. Plus, look, we live in a microwave society. I want results and I want it yesterday. And so it's unfortunate again, and societal pressures say, you look at weight loss commercials for Nutrisystem, lose 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks. It's you're psychologically setting people up to expect that. So what happens when they don't? It does become a psychological issue at that point where they can't imagine what's wrong with me. I didn't lose 10 pounds in 2 weeks. Why isn't this working for me? I guess nothing works. So let me go back to eating Doritos, Coca-Cola, and bonbons all day.
Right. But then what happens is that, I don't know if you found this experience, but I do with most of my clients, is they'll try something or they've tried something in the past and it didn't work and they get frustrated. So they go back to eating, the Doritos and the bonbons, but the desire to lose weight is still always going to be there. The desire to be healthy is always going to be there. So, if you have that goal of being healthy and wanting to lose weight and have energy and all of that, you have to think about, okay, so what can I do that's a lifestyle more so than a diet or a quick fix? But what is something that is not only enjoyable, but sustainable? Because I know even if this doesn't work, I know that I still want to be healthy and lose weight. This desire, it just doesn't go away.
Well, the trap is it doesn't work only means wait. Mm-hmm. So again, like I was saying earlier, if people reframe that it didn't work for me into, I know it's working, it's just not showing the results I want, but I'm going to trust the process and I'm going to stay on the journey despite not seeing it. I've talked to many experts, obesity experts over the years on my podcast, and almost all of them say the blood sugar regulates, the insulin comes down, the inflammation comes down, all of these good things happen before the weight loss happens, before the totality of having that healing manifest in the way that we desire in our brains for it to happen. We need to flip the script. We need to make weight loss a nice little side effect of being healthy rather than expecting the weight loss itself to be the indicator of health. You were healthy long before you lost the weight.
Yeah, so it's more of this approach of getting healthy to lose weight instead of losing weight to get healthy. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, yes.
And that is a mindset thing, right? Because that is not our typical, we've been surrounded by all this stuff that tells us lose weight fast, bring sexy back fast. You have to look this size to be healthy and you have to reach this number on the scale and all the things. And so we are so conditioned to that. And it's hard for us to think the other way around.
Well, so even look what they've done with the pandemic. Oh, well, obesity is the biggest reason you're going to have bad effects. I'm like, no, look at what those obese people have. They have major health comorbidities going on average about 3 apiece. And so they're blaming the obesity, but it's really the comorbidities, all the health problems that if they ate a right diet, exercise, did all the things to fix the health problems, the obesity would be a non sequitur at that point.
Yeah, there's so many factors that go into that. I don't even want to go in the pandemic because we could just rant all day long. But it's insane to me. It just blows my mind when people, some of the things that I hear people say about that. So who's to blame then? Is it the diet industry or is it us as people that don't take the time to educate ourselves and really look underneath the hood of all of the stuff that's out there?
It's both. But I'll focus on individual responsibility. It's a big part of my messaging. Look, you need to take back control of your own health. You need to stop abdicating your responsibility for your own health to doctors, to health experts, to all these people that you've trusted. And we blindly trusted for so long all of these things that have been told to us. It's why we dutifully cut our saturated fat. It's why we ate more healthy whole grains. It's why we did this, did that, did this, did that. We were told those things. And I think we're living in an era now, Lesha, where people are wisening up and going, well, wait a minute. That generic kind of advice from these people has never served me well. Let me go listen to podcasts. Let me go read books. Let me go investigate further for myself. And they're awakening to, hey, some of that prescriptiveness that we've been given really didn't work for me. So that's part of it. Yes, I think it is on the individual to figure this out. But yeah, let's don't as the industry, even the food and their heavy ability to manipulate the consumer. And especially you go into any grocery store, and I do this for funsies. I call it health claims gone wild. When I go into a store and I look at health claims on the front of packaging, I literally look for the most absurd health claims. I remember looking at a box of Fruit Loops one time and it said, a good source of vitamin D. And I'm like, all right, let's see what they mean by a good source. 400 IU is a good source of vitamin D? No. Stand out in the sun for like 2 minutes, you got 400 IU of vitamin D. So it's amazing to me how manipulated we can be. And I'm hoping the events of the last year have opened people's eyes at just how manipulated we've been in a lot of areas. But in the nutritional health world, we've known about it for a very long time, almost 2 decades.
Yeah, I feel like we have to almost put our, like tunnel vision when we go to the grocery store and just, stay around the perimeter and not go into the aisles and all the things and just the marketing, right? Because these companies have millions and millions of dollars. They know how to market to us. And in a way, it's like, yeah. So for me, I agree with you, but I also feel like the diet industry isn't going to change, right? It's at what, like 6 billion a year now?
Oh,
And so I
too
don't,
much.
as much as we can blame them, they're not changing. And someone on Instagram, like someone posted something about, an article coming out with the keto and they did like 3 experiments with 3 different people and they got the keto flu and they had bad, and they still were giving keto a bad rap. And like, she was like, the media should not say all these things about keto. And I'm like, but they're not going to stop, and you're not going to change the media, right? It's up to people. It's their responsibility to get more education rather than some insider.com article.
Well, look what they've done to keto. This is how the diet industry takes over a movement. If something gets popular, they abdicate it and redefine it. When Slim Fast came out, when Slim Fast came out with their keto line of products, that's when I knew this is the diet industry trying to take over a popular trend so they could redefine it. It's why that wrap had whole grains, sugar, and another wheat product in the first 3 ingredients. They don't care about your health. They care about their bottom line. They care about taking over the messaging, because if something gets traction, although I don't know what they're going to do with fasting, there's nothing they can do to.
They'll create supplements that like, hey, if you take this supplement, it will make your fasting better.
And there are companies trying to do that right now. So that's true.
And that's never going to stop. It's not like keto is the first diet or way of eating that they did with, like, think about Atkins. They did that with Atkins. I remember like Subway had all these Atkins stuff and the bars. They did that with gluten-free. Remember the gluten-free trend? Yeah. All of a sudden, everything was gluten-free everywhere. They did it with paleo. Keto is the next one, and there will be something after keto. It's not about keto. It's about something becomes popular, and the diet industry and food companies want to make money off of it, and they create products and they slap a label on there and people buy them not knowing. And that's where I think that is up to the person to not only educate themselves but take responsibility for their own health, knowing that, like, stop believing these companies. Like, they are not here, they don't care about your health, they just want to make money. Now, not all of them, right, but most of them, they don't really care, they just care about their bottom line, like you said.
The big companies don't care.